All right, guys, we are waiting on Mark with Bloodline Fiber to link up.
May want to get a little bit closer to your mic. You want to be no more than a fist away to be able to get adequate coverage for it. With the echo and stuff, we want to be consistent with that. All right, YouTube is live, which is great to see. All right, Mark, we see you.
Great. Can you hear me now? Nothing? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us now, Mark?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can't hear you. You hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, you give us a thumbs up? Okay, so I can hear. So you can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why that's doing that, but I'll check a couple settings here.
Oh, I get to Instagram. Find a lot of people.
Oh, when it comes down to streaming on Instagram, you have to be.
You can watch it.
Oh, that's true.
Anything yet? Anything yet, guys? You guys need to turn up any volume on your audio.
All right, we're ready to go.
Think so.
All right.
All right, Mark. For some reason we're not able to hear you right now, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you guys though.
Difficulties.
Yeah, right now we're live on YouTube and everything's recording right now. At least I hit the record button here. Yeah, we have everything all up. You can see everybody's hearing correctly. Why are we not able to hear you, Mark?
Anything?
Hear that so much.
Our audio is turned up pretty loud, Mark.
Okay.
All right, somebody maybe have a phone he can call in and do it that way.
I may have to.
You could call and put him on speakerphone.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Message him. Mark, can you text your call-in number on the meeting chat? All right, so we got quite the crew joining in. Thank you for everybody. So we got some.
Oh, there you go. Brent just texted us his number.
Perfect. We got Mitman 32 from the Caribbean. It's pretty cool. Got Mr. Parker Chambers, Mr. Baseball Player.
Anything, guys? Testing.
Right. I'll call Mark here fast.
All right, so we got some pretty cool stuff going on tonight. Thanks everybody for joining in. Hopefully we'll get some more coming in. We got a brand new bow release from Gearhead Archery. So
What?
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 You didn't know about that?
I just was showing you things we're playing with.
Oh,
You're putting pressure on me.
yeah. Well, pressure up.
All right.
Oh, I didn't know Mark was based out of Minneapolis. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, he's our next door neighbor.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. So anyways, thank you for everybody tuning into another episode of the podcast here. Sorry for the big delay here. We got a lot of things working going on here. So, but we have Mark on the phone right now. He's on YouTube as well. And then we got Brent and we got Skip here from Gearhead Archery. So we got quite a unique situation because this is the first time I've ever done this big launch before. So there's a lot of moving parts in this aspect. So this has been a quite fun time. And plus we're also drinking Wisconsin Blaze. So, you know.
We're having water.
Days
Oh.
All right, well, let's get it kicked off. So my name is Brent. I'm the owner of A3 Archery Custom Bowstrings. We have Skip Peterson.
I'm Skip Peterson, owner of Archery, Greater Sac, Wisconsin.
So, and Jeff Vance.
Yeah, Jeff Vance. So with this everything coming live here from a little small town here, Violet, Wisconsin here. I guess my first question to you then, Brent, is what motivated you to move from Utah to here?
Actually, it was Washington. Yeah.
Pardon me.
So honestly, I grew up in small town America. I grew up in Louisiana, South Mississippi, and you know, we wanted to raise our family in a kind of an atmosphere that I was brought up in. My wife was brought up in. So we started looking at properties, looking at housing, and Wisconsin just turned out to be the state where everything fits. So here we are.
Perfect. That makes sense to come here because we are literally in the whitetail capital of the world when it comes down to technology and archery and stuff like that. So we got yourself here, Skip. We have Matthews. We have HHA. We're literally in the Mecca when it comes down to whitetail hunting. This is pretty quite the privilege to be in the same room with everybody here. So what do you guys want to talk about?
I think let's get the cat out of the bag and let's see these new bows.
What?
Yeah, let's see this new box.
I'm here to support Bloodlines, so I think we should probably maybe have.
Oh yeah, for Mark as well. Sorry, Mark.
Yes.
Come on, Skip.
Yeah, let's see if this audio works. Getting pretty good feedback.
Yeah, I'm hearing it. We need to. I don't know if we need. All right, we're getting some. Mark's getting some feedback on his end. Tell you what.
I don't speak on there. We put them on.
Hey, Mark, how's that? Well, how about now, Mark? Yeah, so I can't hear you now.
Yeah, I carry it through for Zoom for some odd reason.
Okay. Just stay tuned, Mark. Put your speaker on mute, and when we get some questions up for you, we will ask, and hopefully we can get by the feedback.
Hey, sounds good, man.
All right. So Skip,
All right.
you're up, brother.
I'm not sure I'm ready to release, but I mean, I still got stuff I'm playing with, but for this year, I'll be coming out. It's a 30-inch bow, but it's, we're going to call it the P30. The unique thing about this, it's got a bearing system here. So when your limbs flex, this rotates with it. And I have a prototype that's, not a bow mold here to kind of show you a little bit more. So basically it's got your limb pocket here. And where the camera is, it basically rotates. So you got some bearings on the side here. So as your limbs flex, typically they're flexing over a static point, but this literally takes all this off the limbs. Smoothed out the draw cycle, picked up a little bit of speed, hand shot got better. It just became a really nice shootable bow. And it's just, it's been a couple of years since we brought something out. So this is one step of what we're doing. We changed a little bit of the geometry of the riser, but for the most part, that's kind of it, really simple design, but it really improved the bow tremendously. So that's kind of what's coming here for 2023. And it's certainly so.
So then was this just feedback from all your pro staff, or is this something that you would have been working on for the last couple of years?
It's actually been probably a couple of years, but a lot of times when you're working on bows and stuff and you're getting them back and you're checking them out and you see, bows that get a lot of shot, you can kind of see that there is some limb wear going on and things like that. So I just thought if we put something in there that would help when the limb would bend, it would actually rotate with it. And then because of our riser structure, this bow is right or left-handed. So, basically the two plates are exactly the same. It allowed us to put the bearings in the side and actually just, make a real, movable, limb support. So that's kind of and again, we'll probably move this into like the 20-inch, the 24. We're known for our smaller bows that kind of go along with like tree saddles and ground blinds and just anything, maneuverable. And then we also, make the target bows in the 36-inch too. So I'll probably go across the complete line, but this year we're just bringing it out in a 30-inch.
There you go, makes sense. So what was the transition for you to bring gearhead archery to life?
We started gearhead in 2008. We were in Buffalo, Wyoming, working with a partner at the time, Paul Trapowski, who now lives in Hawaii. And, you hear a lot of people talk about, coming up with ideas and that the gearhead literally started on a napkin at a barbecue joint. I developed a thing for the turkey hunting industry where it was, you clipped on your turkey to the turkey fan. It gave hands-free photography. You could use it for taxidermy and stuff like that. And Paul saw it and he goes, Skip, you did it. You invented something, you got a patent for it, it's packaged, it's ready for the store shelf. So we were just eating ribs and he's like, let's build a bow. So we just kind of, we didn't want crossover cables. We didn't want a lot of different things. And it kind of morphed to what you see today. We've started selling bows to the, to pro shops and the general consumer market in 2015. So we're in year 8 right now. And the first bows we came out, they were draw length specific, draw weight specific, no adjustability. You had to use a certain release. And again, you just listen to the customers and you try to give them what they want. And today we got so much adjustability. We got a rotational mod, and you can use a string stop, a limb stop. We have a pick a grip system, so you can actually move your grip left to right, forward and back. And it's just a real modular system for creating a bow.
That's a way to, it's really actually very way to continue making them more personable to the shooter. Like I know when I shot next to Seth all season long, he was shooting the B30, B32, and he was loving it. And it's like shooting next to him is very accurate. And the only downside he uses black knocks. So it's like when you can't see where he's going. And so watching him adjust everything and making sure how he's able to finesse everything so well. And those who know Seth, he's just an absolute tinker. He just loves doing it.
And then in the gearheads, they're basically, instead of you conforming to the bow, you can make the bow conform. So you can literally tweak just about everything. And again, it's right or left-handed. In 15 minutes, I can make it a right-handed bow or a left-handed bow. So, and then I know there's some bows out this year where they're kind of saying that, but I mean, we've been 8 years, we've had right-handed or left-handed bows, the same bow.
Which makes things a lot easier. Especially, I have a friend of mine down in Iowa. He's been on the podcast, and he actually is ambidextrous himself. He shoots left and right, so he has a left-hand setup because he managed to win a Hoyt, but he had only in the left hand. So it's like perfect. So he self-taught himself, naturally dominant with the right side, but he taught himself to shoot left, and so it's just remarkable. Like I think this would be a bow right up his alley because then if he gets bored, it's like I'm gonna switch to the other side.
Yeah, so, yeah, we're excited for 2023 and, it's just, I mean, you're always thinking of what you can do better and I'm one where I really don't want to bring something out unless it really changes the game a little bit. I
Okay.
don't like following other people's leads and we just really want to, think outside the box on our own. And unless you got something that's relatively new and makes your product better, I mean, there's really no sense of bringing something out. So, I mean, we really, it's been a couple of years, but we're ready now.
Definitely. That's exciting to hear that. So, Brent,
For everybody that doesn't know, I personally shoot a gearhead. I shoot the P-34. It's sitting right here. Phenomenal bow. I am that, 28 and 7/8 inch shooter, and I was able to get my exact draw length with the grip, like Skip was talking about. So, phenomenal bows, great shooting bows. If anybody doesn't have a gearhead, looking for a new bow, Skip, what's the lead time on a new bow now?
Well, it was 1 or 2 days, but now I'm up to like 3 days, 3-4 days.
There's nobody in the industry that can tell you they can get you a brand new bow in 3 days.
So,
that's pretty remarkable then, because you do everything in-house, correct?
most of the stuff, so we share machines with, a robotics company. But lately we've been they're very busy. So I've been outsourcing to some other machine shops in the local area too. So I mean, everything's definitely made in the United States. I get emails and phone calls of like, hey, offshore, we can do your stuff. I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're made in America. And that's how we live and breathe. And that's the way it is. And
That means something.
yeah, and it should mean something. I mean, if you want your country back, you need to buy American. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what, well, essentially, if I have my banner here, every company that I represent is all made in America.
Yeah.
From the expedition bow that's sitting in my box to Lakewood products, I just really kind of focus everything except for my board that's made overseas. That's in Europe though. It's like, they make a really good product.
So some things you just can't get around. But
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're doing the fine tune with an audio, it can really escalate rather rapidly. Because this right here, this board is only a couple $100, but then you can go up to $700 to $1,000. It's like, that is ridiculous. But most all electronics is all made overseas anyhow. So there's not really a way around, especially when majority of semiconductors and chipsets are made in the Pacific Rim.
right. I did get a Facebook notification just before we went on. It was like 1 minute old that Brady Connor here in Wisconsin, he's a field staff shooter for us. He's shooting a new P-30 and he got the first kill with the P-30 this year. So.
Okay, so we got some feedback. 1-3 outdoors, gearhead archery. Let's see, we got a Struble disc. Do you carry a bow with a 32-inch draw length?
I can get you to a 32. I would put a number 6 cam on a 24 that I can get a 24-inch out to a 32 with my number 6 cam. It's kind of like a custom built for you. That would take you sending me an email and then we would go back and forth and then I would get it built. So I mean, you could reach out at skip@gearheadarchery.com and we could make that happen for you.
Excellent. Yeah, then we got Andrew Kruger on YouTube. Is it Gearhead? Let's go. Amazing bows. He's local in Wisconsin as well. So
Yeah.
I've never met him, but I know he's here. You started working with Jason Brennick, and things changed for their own personal lives.
And Andrew's really he's in with the tethered side of things. So he's really tree saddle type stuff and that
Makes sense.
he actually works for Tethered. So yep.
Nice. I mean, that's really cool then.
Again, thanks everybody. Dirk, I'll smile on you too. Thank you though. So I guess, right now let's open it up to the floor. Let's get some questions rolling. I know a lot of you guys have messaged me asking questions, string questions, string related questions, build process questions. We've got Mark Peterson with Bloodline Fiber. He's here to answer anything that I can't, maybe get into the technical side of things. So let's open up to the floor and let's see what kind of questions we get. I see Seth posted Team Gearhead.
Yeah.
I know he's a big shooter for Gearhead. So yeah, thank you, Seth.
another thing while we're waiting for questions to come in, we're reconstructing our website and with Brent and that, we're actually going to have drop downs where when you order a bow, you can get the bow it comes in will be A3 if you want that choice. You're not going to get a whole lot of choice of colors at that point because I'm just going to stock what was it, like a green?
Yep.
Was it green black or something like that?
Yeah, I think we're going to stock pine green and brown
Okay.
sugar. served, that'll be factory on the gearhead bows.
Cause there's nothing more irritating than hearing people where they just get a new bow and it's like, so what's the string specs? I want to put a custom string on. Well, if we can offer it, from the factory that way, it will reduce the cost of when you buy the premium string. So it just made sense that way, but there'll be two drop downs. One was you're building your bow, you can choose A3, and then for strings, replacement strings, you'll have that for a choice as well.
It looks like 1-3 outdoors, and it mentioned, Brent, are you going to be attending the Hunt Expo here in Wisconsin?
Skip and I were just talking about that earlier, and I think we are going to team up and do some stuff this year. So yeah, the answer to that question is yes.
Yeah, last year I was there Friday and Saturday, taking interviews and stuff like that, and collecting business cards, and my whole entire summer would just jam packed with interviews and such that really elevated the content.
1-3 outdoors also, can we match the chameleon paint on your disruptor? So if you go to our Facebook or Instagram pages, we do have a chameleon 36 that Skip give to us to take to ATA. We put a really cool color combination on that kind of match the chameleon. So take a look at that. I think with it, it's got our Viper fiber, which is our proprietary color. So yeah, take a look at that. Dirk, what's the pre-cycle stuff all about? So we get questions on that all the time. What is pre-cycle? So everybody knows what a pre-stretched bowstring is. We took pre-stretching bowstrings, which is basically statically stretching, and we turned it up a few knobs. We actually dynamically stretched that bowstring over a series of different tensions over time. So we're actually able to work the fiber instead of just statically stretching and releasing. So we're able to do a little bit better job than statically stretching, and it doesn't take us as long to do it. So at the end result, you get a better bowstring that doesn't move. We've got tons of people out here that can attest to that. So
Seth, that's a really good question too about what makes bloodline materials different.
So I'll answer a piece of that, and we can turn Mark on. So bloodline material is waxless, guys. It is the fiber doesn't have wax. It's got a proprietary coating that Mark developed. Makes it abrasion resistant, water repellent. Dust doesn't stick to it, so you don't have to worry about internal and external abrasion with dust and dirt and stuff like that. That's the number one benefit. Secondly, typically we see about 5 to 6 feet per second quicker speeds. Some bows faster, some bows not. Again, we can't guarantee that, but that's typically on average what we see.
It's great to hear that. Mark, if you're there.
Yeah, I think Brent did a great job of covering a lot of the benefits there. I'm still getting some feedback. Are you guys hearing any echo?
No,
We have no echo on this side.
Yeah, it sounds good on our side. But I guess, as you can tell, he's hung up on me on accident.
Now, I want to interject too, like a lot of times people send their bows back to Gearhead for maintenance or have me just check things. And as a rule, a lot of people, they don't wax their strings good enough. And I think using an A3 string that's a waxless string, it just is better for everybody at that point. It seems like that's the point where you get some people, oh, I need to wax this, and you get in and their strings are dry as a buck fart, and it's just like, come on, guys. But that's another advantage to ante up and go with the A3.
So what I'm thinking, what I might do for Mark is if you're able to answer my call, I'll just put you on mute. Yeah, I see that his microphone is mute on his.
So if we mute that, that'll kill the feedback.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
No.
Lucky shot. So we just had a guy drop in. He is from Chehalis, Washington, and he is the owner of Lucky Shot Archery. So you want to come around maybe and introduce yourself?
There you go.
We can get you a chair. You want this one?
Grab a chair. There we go.
Justin Jackson, love my A3 gearhead combo. It's deadly. Yeah, I saw you double down the other day, man. Good shooting. What else we got here? Michael Kalini. Hey guys, I have a backup bow, an older bear assault I shoot a few times a year. Keep it around just for in case something happens. We'll be a good stick. You know, Michael, any string that we sell is a great string. Honestly, you know, Bloodline is a great fiber. It's something that if you only shoot it a few years, you know, a few times a year, that's a bowstring that's probably going to last you 10 years, probably longer than the bow is going to be around. So, yeah, just, you know, anything we sell is good, but Bloodline by far is the premier string.
And then Seth made a comment there about how the Bloodline strings actually made a night and day difference with his draw cycle.
So Seth, I guess I'm gonna ask you a question. Why don't you tell us a little bit, you know, text it, but tell us a little bit what's your draw cycle feel like nowadays? So introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name's Cody Watts. I own
There you go, Cody.
thanks. Hey, everyone. For those who couldn't hear me, my name's Cody Watts. I own a pro shop in Chehalis, Washington. It's a full service shop just between Portland and Seattle along I-5 in rural Lewis County. I've been there for just about 2 years now. Prior to that, I was actually in law enforcement and decided to change my career up and came out to the Midwest to hunt whitetails and got a hold of Brent, wanted to stop by, say hi, see the and see how everyone's doing.
Well, we're glad to have you, man.
How's the hunting? You been hunting?
It's been pretty slow.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I timed it right with the warm front.
yeah.
So I was supposed to actually have 3 other guys with me, but about
Yeah.
5 minutes before shooting light, the guy next to me stuck one, so they're out looking for it right now.
Oh, good deal.
Well, the
Good
rut's
deal.
definitely heating up.
Yeah,
My-
we
my-
grunted that one
Yeah,
in.
my neck was swelling just driving here.
We got any other questions out there?
Nothing right now. I'm on YouTube.
All right, guys, get those questions in. We're open to just about anything archery, or tuning related. We got Skip here, so if anyone wants to ask questions on gearhead bows, feel free. Yeah, so Dirk said you're next. Always swollen, Skip.
Oh,
Yeah, Dirk just took a few guys out there with Ben from Sodak Rides for a couple of veteran shoots for Speedgo early this year, something like that. They weren't able to connect, but they had all of them provided really good feedback, and a couple of them were actually here from Wisconsin.
yeah. I think that was Hell's Canyon, wasn't it?
Yeah, House Canyon,
Yeah.
yes.
So Seth, seemed to smooth it out and really help make a already solid back wall better. So, you know, bowstring fiber, what we build with is the Bloodline B99. We played with the VEC 99 stuff. It seemed like it was really harsh on the shot. So we swapped to B99, and you know, the feedback that we've got has been just great. And I think the smoothness probably it's attributed to the strand count that we can get. You know, VEC 99 is very similar to what people are used to in 452X. We can get 22, 24 strands in. With the B99, we can always get a solid 32 in, and that just makes for a rounder profile string and makes for a smoother transaction as the cam rolls over. So I think that's what attributes that smoothness. Seth. So how's business going in Washington?
Business is going well. This year's been down a little bit across the board. I think the entire archery industry has, but it's been going very well for us since we took over. We've expanded both inventory and created an online website. The store I purchased was a pre-existing shop. It had been there for just about 14 years. So going on year 16 now. And my wife and I run it together, and bless her heart, she's back home running the shop by herself while I'm running across the US, hunting every state I can.
And she's holding up okay.
Yeah, she's doing well, doing well. So right now is the slow time for us. It's right in between our early bow season and our late bow season. So most guys are all set up for the year and it's just minor tweaks with some tuning and timing, making sure everything's operational and the ever so common, my peep's twisted, I can't see out of it. Can you fix it? So it's been good.
So, 1-3 outdoors, to anyone on the fence, T24 shorter AT bows are night and day difference for swinging around the tree to get shots. Also a nice setup for blind hunting in tight quarters. Absolutely. I have typically always been an out west hunter, in my, older adult life. So I went with a 34. Now that I'm in Wisconsin, I wish I had a 24. So, ground blind hunting, tree stand hunting.
I think we know a guy.
So,
We can set you up. I see Justin Jackson was asking if you could make strings for the X16 and I know you can because it's the same string as a T18. It just doesn't have the dead stop serving on it. It's just that all the sizes are the same. So
currently, you're currently building those strings with like 452?
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah. So we can build any crossbow that Skip makes.
That's nice. Then Andrew, I asked Andrew a question and he shoots the X16 geared crossbow carbon T20. And I don't know if he's asking me, but my shop does not carry gearhead. Lacrosse Archery does not. They only stick with the big three, Hoyt, Matthews, and
Anthony, come to me, buddy. Anthony, give me a call. I'll take care of you, Anthony.
In future, early next year, maybe in the first quarter, first or second quarter, we are talking about having a retail facility here. So that may be in the works, and of course, we'll be carrying gearhead. So that's another option for you.
well, that'd be fantastic. There was an old call center in West Salem that just went out of they've now closed down their shop, but it's for sale. So too bad they didn't have like a higher arc, but it's right there off of exit 12 off of I-90. It's like great location, just massive office space.
Right. Tear down those walls.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, divide them all up. The nice thing is you'd be able to get your 100-yard range on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how the arrow arc would go.
Yeah.
It would make it work.
All right, so Dirk's asking, can we talk about the various fibers and why some folks may look at different fibers from A3? So guys, that's a pretty easy question. We carry 3 different fibers, or actually 4 different fibers, soon to be 5. Most of your builders out there that build for a compound bow, they carry 1 fiber. That's what they're comfortable with. That's the inventory level they want to carry. We actually carry Bloodline fiber, which is our platinum series. And we carry 452X for those guys that still want to stick to what they know. But for crossbows, we carry on a Flight 911 for some of your, your recurve shooters. That's a real popular fiber type. But we also have an order in for HT99, which is crossbow material from Bloodline. So we'll soon be offering crossbow strings that are waxless, just like your pound strings. So that's coming, and also we'll be carrying a new material that's coming out, Mark. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but we'll be getting that as soon as it's available.
Yeah, can you guys hear me at all? Or still,
Nice things with this
still no
being
line?
recorded, Mark. I will be rebroadcasting this later on tonight. So this will also be in a audio format as well. So granted, Mark, we may not hear you over our phones. Doesn't mean you're not being recorded. But I
Gotcha.
can always call you again.
All
I can
right.
just put my phone on mute. So this way that there's no reverberation for you.
Nope, I'll
Would
just
you like-
talk through right now.
So let me call you again, Mark, and then I'll just put my phone on mute, and then you won't have the reverb.
All right, let's see, Michael. Yep, absolutely.
There you go, Mark.
So Blade Rain TV. Blade Rain TV is they've just chosen A3 to be their string of choice. We're gearing up. We should be shipping here in the next couple of days a whole bunch of those strings to us guys. So thank you. Difference in fibers. We touched on it a little bit. Bloodline fiber is that waxless fiber.
Brent was talking about his cycling method and some of the benefits that it provides to the finished product on the string when it arrives to the end user. One of those great benefits that is that the fibers are able to compact tighter together and fill in voids, even micro voids. So if you think of all those fibers are able to pack together as tight as they possibly can, and also basically completely balance out. So right away, when you receive your bowstring, you're able to there isn't a break-in period that has already been done for you at A3. So that's one of the great technologies that Brent covered. And then moving on to the fiber side, and
So Mark, can I,
stuff great flow line from some of the other technologies out there is as Brent mentioned. But even before coating, there are some things in the process that we do that helps protect the fiber from being broken down, and that comes from some of the machines that we use and the surfaces that the fibers are run over, and then also the twist ratios that we're putting into the fiber set this apart as well. So twist ratios can also impact the feel of the shot, kind of how the fiber behaves. It also helps impact abrasion as well, and then even some of those things that Brent had mentioned as far as the set-in period and some of the movement early on. So even before coating, we have some things that we're doing in the fiber itself. But then talking about the coating, it really does quite a bit for the string itself and the string performance. So one great benefit is the ability for it to repel water, so hydrophobic properties of that finished bowstring. You don't want it to change its weight over time. So if it's picking up a lot of weight from the water in the environment, that can change your shot a little bit just based on the change in weight of the string itself. So that's a great benefit, trying to keep that string from keeping water to enter it and being absorbed inside of it.
just keep it out of it.
Another great benefit that I don't think it's talked about a lot is UV resistance. So just a bare fiber, Dyneema, any HMPE fiber is going to have quite a bit of damage from the UV. So, and there are certain colors that protect fiber even more than others. But in general, the coating and some of the work that we've done does do a great job at UV protection. So just a bare fiber can lose up to 60% of its strength if it's out in the sun for not a super long period of time. So that's another thing to note about coating and some of the technologies that are provided to the fiber. Brent touched on some other great ones, internal and external abrasion. You can get quite a few more shots out of this technology. And yeah, besides that, in comparison to the different fibers that are out there right now, to actually answer the last question there from Dirk, in comparison to the other fibers that are out there, we're trying to use the highest grade materials out of the gate. So we're using Dyneema. It's made in Netherlands. The grade that we use is SK99, and we have basically a few different products that use that SK99, depending if it's pound or crossbow, and then our blended material that we blend with the Vectran. And it's, been the blended Vectran and Dyneema products are kind of been proven out there, and is what people have been used to in the last 10 years. But the grade that we have for SK99 really provides a solution to that, and that material has really advanced so much that the blended materials are not needed as much in terms of reducing creep or movement over time. It's just such a great material that we're able to use from Dyneema. All right, guys, I don't know if I'm talking too much or what, but let's turn it back over to the guys at A3.
All right. So just kind of scrolling through. So Jeff Wynn, I believe this is going to be for you, Skip. Will you be at the ASA tournaments?
You should be at the ASA tournaments.
I should be. It's all about time.
Jeff, you want to work the booth? We could maybe hire you, Jeff. You could go out there and
Oh, I'm all for it. I have the gift to gab. I will gladly talk to anybody's ear. It's like, I will gladly brag up because like I'm looking at all week long, like on your screen creator, like since once you see my bow, it's like it's green and black. I thought at least my mind's going like, I should do a throw the whole like the 1980s whole, because I think this would just be would pop because I'm always going to all the shoots because I'm going already. Well, Sodak Horizon there, it's like he's coming back out this year for HHA USA, so I'm probably gonna hit all those. Got the R100 in Sparta and hopefully in Iowa. And we got the Beast Mode Archery Games. It's coming up in July. And then what else we got going on? There's I plan on doing a lot more hitting. Just all it depends is like making sure that we're able to gain act. Like one of the gas prices are not too expensive to go out and hang out with some friends. But Hippie Huntress. It's like, oh, it skips. I've got two other. Oh, so it's the other 224. Hands down, my favorite. I'm going to be needing new strings soon. So there you go. There's no set of strings sold to the Hippie Huntress.
I know a guy. So Dirk says, how about speed knocks? How are they different? So bows today are they're engineered with, speed knocks in places with certain weights, basically to assist the cam in rolling over quicker, giving you faster speeds. So it's engineered in. We get a lot of questions a lot of times where people are like, can you put speed knocks on my strings? And I'm like, well, they didn't come with it. So I would be guessing, it could hurt your performance if we just put them on there for looks.
So is that an actual knock that goes to the arrow, or is that something that's special with string?
No, they're on the string. So they're brass knock sets basically that go on the string. We put a pretty little on top of it with our logo. So as much as we like to brand our strings, some bows just don't have speed knocks. So we can't do that. We don't know where they go.
That makes sense.
I've tested speed knocks on the gearheads. I really didn't see much of a.
Ben figured it out.
I mean, I didn't see that next step for the increase.
Yeah, we were, Skip let us play with the prototype with the P series, and man, I put speed knocks all over that thing, and just really, Skip's got that bow engineered to maximum, so it doesn't need speed knocks. So, hats off to Skip for doing that. Tanner Summers, thanks for all your help. Need the new bowstring and answering all my questions about it. Absolutely, brother. I saw your order. Yeah, man, we're about 2.5 weeks out. Dirk, why are the risers on gearhead bows so funky? Why are they webbed like that?
Oh, Dirk. So basically our patent is vertical side plates connect with horizontal members to make it through riser design. So it sounds kind of fancy, but kind of how it started was I was doing all this work out west, and I had a manual mill, and I didn't have the capabilities to make these fancy type risers, but I could take side plates and put positions in them to put the horizontal members where I could put a limb attachment and a limb support and grips and stuff like that. And it just allowed us to go in that direction. And then you just keep working on the riser to just basically remove the material you don't need and keep the material you do need for the strength. And that's kind of how it got the look that it does. And then we just kind of kept designing other features into it with stabilizer placement. I think there's 9 places on the bows where you can put stabilizers, so you can put the weight where you want. And again, we talked about left-right situations. And I actually put my GoPro right between the risers, and that wasn't a forethought. That was an accident where once we had it made, and hey, I can put my GoPro in there, and I kind of sandwich it, and I can turn it on with my index finger, and then my hand's still on the grip. So it's just a lot of features that's kind of worked into that platform. And we get a lot of people say, they would like to see us look more like a traditional bow, but it's the way that we look and the way that the bow shoots and performs that kind of has made us who we are. So I really don't see getting away from that identity, and I see expanding upon it. So good question, Dirk.
Yep, absolutely. Skip and I actually were talking earlier, a lot of folks don't think or don't know about what is orbital deflection. And that's deflection of the riser. So when you have a traditional bow, that riser can orbitally deflect as you draw it back and load the bow. So with the design that Skip has with the side plates and the cross members, you don't see the orbital deflection you do in a normal bow. So if you think about target bows that have you know, shoot through riser. They put that there for a reason, for rigidity, so you don't have orbital deflection. So, so keep that in mind too. So, very, very good engineer, work of art there.
So orbital deflection, that is a new term for me. So what is the definition behind that?
So basically, this is your riser twisting.
Okay.
So when it's loaded, you know, your riser is one piece of aluminum.
Okay.
And it can twist, and it typically twists right at the burger hole.
No
And
kidding.
it's very minimal, right? But millimeters here mean inches there, so.
Valid.
So. Jed guessing, how long would you predict bloodline fiber strings to last shot wise? Jed, I can tell you, we've got some professional shooters that shoot our bowstrings. These guys put 150 shafts through a bow day in and day out. The latest shot count that I heard was something like 60,000 shots, and they're still shooting them. So as long as you take care of them, they'll take care of you.
That's a very good question. Then Seth reached out and mentioned, what are the limb finishes with? Or limbs finished with?
On the gearhead.
Yes.
So currently we have a thing called limb shield. So our limbs are, well, it's a Gordon composite, and let's see, I'm going to grab one right here. This is Brent's personal bow here. We'll bring it around so you can kind of see, but you know, it's a rubberized coating. That's been done and it's been around before, but so the limbs have quite the process. I mean, Gordon Composite changed its name. I think it's Avient now. They kind of been bought a couple of different times. So that's kind of the base material, and then it gets ground to the different limb deflections. And then it comes in and we coat them at that point, and then the limb shield goes on after that. And then they get processed again. So I mean, there's a little bit of work involved with that. Going forward on the newer bow, that's probably have the limb shield. It's gonna be just a regular powder coat style limb with some graphics and stuff on it. I think that has, I like the look of it, so I'm going to probably go in that direction. The limb shield is just, there's so much work involved with it. With the powder coat, it's a little bit easier to take care and get done. But also, the limb, in saying that, the limb shield does protect the limbs pretty nice. We did a lot of our testing in Hawaii, and they have the lava rocks, and you're crawling around trying to get a access deer and stuff like that. And the lava rocks are kind of hard on your limbs and that, where that kind of gives another layer of protection. So that was kind of the thought behind it.
All right, so Marcellus Jetter, hey, thanks, Marcellus. We love doing business with you guys. Thanks for all the work. So I'm going to put you on the spot for a few. So you've installed several sets of A3 custom bowstrings at your shop. Why don't you, tell the folks your experience and, bloodline fiber and all that stuff.
So I think I met you with ATA last year and brought you on and slowly introduced several people to the A3 bloodline fiber strings. And what I've found so far is they're built to fit. They come in at the correct length, and there's no real adjustments I need to make to get the proper ATA and brace height. They shoot well, and there's very minimal, if any, work that I need to do with it. They look fantastic. And then one of the biggest issues I have when folks come in for new strings and cables are their strings and cables that aren't A3 typically. They I don't know how much to wax it, and there's wax dripping off of it like a beehive. It just looks like honey. I'm like, oh man, it'd be better off to not wax your strings at all. So having a wax, listen to people, hey, just shoot them, take care of them, clean them. And probably the biggest factors I look at are, how wet, dry, dusty, dirty, UV light. Don't leave them in your case to bake in your car while you're at work. That's typically my line. What I was going to ask you is, what are your general care that I can turn towards my customers about A3 bloodline fiber strings?
All that we say, is if you are hunting in dusty conditions, just take a damp cloth, wipe them off. Don't let that dust sit on them. We some of our out west hunters, they rake their gloves on. The gloves have dust on them. They're carrying the bow string. Don't do that. That bow's got a handle for a reason. Use the handle.
How about the Congo rainforest that I live in, that is Western Washington? We got ferns, we've got pine trees, Doug fir. I'm going through blackberry bushes, all sorts of stuff. Cause for concern with my customers probably being like, how wet is too wet? And I think you guys were touching on this a little bit when we were on the phone with Mark. Was that, he was talking about water. So is there any special care with those?
No, what you'll typically see because of the hydrophobic, property of the coating, it's going to shed water. It's not going to soak water. So, if you're in a torrential downpour, yeah, you want to cover your strings up. But as long as it's just damp, I mean, I lived in Washington. I know what you're going through. They'll be just fine.
Okay.
Absolutely just fine. So, we just mentioned tons of wax on a bowstring, and we still sell waxed bowstrings. I mean, that's part of our lineup, my fiber. One thing a lot of people don't know is waxed gives you in different temperatures, different climates, your bow and it's 70 degrees outside. And then you go out west hunting or go to New Mexico, somewhere where it's hot. What you're going to find, guys, is that wax is going to thin out and your tune is going to change. Okay. The opposite goes as if it gets cold. If you go to Colorado and it's 20 degrees, the wax is going to harden and your tune is going to change. So when we talk about bloodline fiber, it's the only temperature stable fiber on the market because it doesn't have wax. So just keep that in your hat, guys. There's a reason that we sell more bloodline fiber in this shop than any other fiber. All right, Dirk, tip about tying in PEEP solid before testing because string is slippery. Yeah, so we tell our shops, our pro shops, a lot of them are used to throwing that PEEP sight in, not tying it. Going out with the customer, tune that bow, shooting that bow, and that PEEP doesn't go anywhere on a wax bowstring. When you got bloodline fiber, tie that PEEP in. Even if it's just around the outer perimeter, tie the PEEP in while you're making adjustments and figuring out where you want to cinch it in at, because it will leave the string.
On that note, with bloodline fibers, what about some of these other PEEPs that are a lot thicker, like the specialty archery clarifying PEEPs? Is there anything special with those, or the way that you maybe tie it in, like the Hamsky style tie-in?
Yeah, anything the podiums, the Raptors, the larger specialty PEEPs with the like you said, the apertures in them. Either the barrel, big barrel style PEEPs. Don't tie them in so tight. Give them some room and then tie the outer perimeter. And I've tied probably 1,000 of them in, and we haven't had any issues. When we do see a customer with an issue, it's because he cinched it down too tight, and he's actually cut the fibers with the serving. So,
and I don't know if I missed this, is this particular serving that you would prefer PEEPs to be tied in with over another size, style, brand?
Yep. So when we had our shop in Washington and all of my personal bows, we tie everything in with 3D material, which is a BCY. It's a twisted soft material. So you don't have to worry about it cutting a braided material like a halo or a boa ice. It does have a braided texture, more of an abrasive texture. So you can risk the possibility of cutting. So yeah, BCY 3D is what we use. Anything else?
No.
Good?
No. Good.
All right. So what else we got here? That was a good question, Dirk. Thank you. Jeremy Valderrama. I've typically seen an increase in feet per second. My target bow shoots with bloodline fibers. Why is that? Simple answer to that, Jeremy. Wax is heavy, and heavy means slow. So when you get rid of the wax property, naturally you're going to speed up. Next question, Dirk. Does Skip shoot a stabilizer with his bow?
Dirk, I don't shoot a stabilizer. I'm a stable guy. I don't need a stabilizer. No, I keep my bow pretty simple. I basically just have a, one pin sight. And then I picked up this sight from Buck Rub Gear. It's carbon fiber. Last year I shoot in an HHA. This year I moved up to that where it has, my one pin I shoot out to 30, and then it's got a slider that I have, where I go out to like 50 or 60 with it, but it's just basically just a sight and a rest. I don't really have much on my bow. I have a carbon bow. I have a carbon 24, and my whole setup weighs 3.6 pounds. So, I mean, for out West, it's just super light. And then I don't run a quiver on it. I run a cat quiver on my back, and I just keep my bow just really simple. And that's how I've always had it.
So it sounds old school.
Yeah.
Sounds like how we used to hunt in the 90s.
I'm an old man.
Yeah, well. All right, guys. Well, come on, get those questions in. We got a little bit longer to go. We started a little late, so we're in a little late. Hey, Randy Duran, I see you here. Who else we got? Cotton Tigger. Randy says, I can tell you the bloodline material is plenty durable without waxing. They're amazing. Randy, you were one of the guys that I was talking about earlier. You literally you're going on the 3rd season with the same set of bowstrings, and that is just unheard of. You know, most people who would have changed bowstrings 3 or 4 times. So yeah, and Randy, Shooter of the Year this year, ASA, congratulations. We love watching you all year long. Amos, can't wait for that new target bow as long as it gets out to my monkey arm draw length. Amos, what's your draw length? Skip, what's the draw length go?
Well, I think he's out. I think he's 30, 32. I think I'll have no problem going long. I mean, my challenge right now is getting it for the shorter draw people, you know, so I'm getting down to like the 27s, 26, 27s is more of the challenge than getting to the 32s. Yeah.
So we got Nova Scotia PSC Archery. I know he's been shooting A3s for quite some time. So we appreciate that. Seb Bowhunter, Bloodline and Viper Green, best strings I've ever owned. They just won't wear out. Well, I guess we're shooting ourselves in the foot there, huh, Seb? And that Viper, man, we knocked that one out of the park. Mark definitely did good. People ask me sometimes, where did Viper come from? You know, to be honest, guys, I put out on our page, what would people like to see in a color? And we would vote on it. And somebody took a picture of a car door in this color. And I was like, man, wow, that's a really, really cool color. So we voted on it, and we came up with the color. I shot it over to Mark, and he just nailed it. So that is where Viper Green come from. And the reason it's called Viper is that door was on a Dodge Viper SRT. So,
Cool.
Dirk says, oh, Amos is a juvenile giraffe.
Oh my gosh.
How did Skip and Brent get together in the first place? Love you, brothers. Dirk, you already know the answer to that question. I think you were the one that introduced us.
Some of it too. I mean, we kind of followed each other on Facebook, you know, so I kind of learned a lot from you off of Facebook. And then Emma Warrington out of the UK, you know, he's a big fan of yours and stuff. And he was always in my ear and talking about your strings and that. And then we got a set, and it's just like you take them out of the package and you just feel the quality just from unwrapping them, you know, and it just carries through to your product, and it makes your product better. So it's like, why wouldn't you use that?
Yeah, thank you, Skip. You know, we started A3 Archery because we wanted a no BS approach at bowstrings. I've shot competitively a lot of years and was getting bowstrings from people that touted themselves to be the best. And I always had an issue. I built bowstrings back in my dad's shop. And just said, you know what, I can build them better, and started building them for myself and friends and buddies. And here we are today. You know, so some of the technology, some of the techniques that we've built here in this shop, I will say that they will tout just about any string company out there.
When did you start making strings?
We are just about to make 2 years old. Long history of building bowstrings. Blade Rain TV, need Viper Blue. Blade Rain, Andy, go check out the Robin Egg Blue. That's about as close to Viper Blue as you're going to get. Jeremy, that Viper with the electric blue serving was awesome. Yeah, somebody posted a comment to that picture. That was Zachary Vaught. That was in the Minot, North Dakota, at the Outfitters, one of our pro shops. We did Viper with electric blue serving, and it turned the serving. They made a comment. It looked like Mountain Dew Baja Blast came. But you know, after that comment was made, you looked at the pictures, like you can really see that, because it just made the serving, you know, look a different color.
Then Andrew was mentioning that he doesn't with his bow, he doesn't use a stabilizer either. He just needs an A3 bloodline strings for his new bow, for his bow and for his crossbow.
Yeah, you just need that A3 bloodline. That's it, Andrew. Amos says, hey, I'm legal and adult, but yeah, my boss said I gotta shrink. TJ, how did y'all get your start in the outdoor industry? Love shooting with Amos, they say at Hurricane. TJ, I got my start in outdoors, just like a lot of us. My dad was an avid outdoorsman. Taught me to hunt at the early age of about 5 years old. I think I took my first deer at 6 with a 410 shotgun, old single shot. So yeah, that's how I got my start.
Did you know that here in Wisconsin, you can't use well, I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure because I've been looking for the regulation, but from what I've read is that 410 is not a caliber that's accepted. Not 100% sure if it's true or not.
It could be. I haven't read the rule books into that. You know, I've swapped over to bow only. So
likewise, I know Iowa just passed 410 as well to be used.
Well, Justin, looks like you got a long shift at the firehouse, buddy. 36-hour shift. Yeah, buddy, you have a good one.
He's gonna call me Friday morning, it looks like.
Yep.
Huh.
Jed guessing what made Skip want to design the gearhead. So we touched on that a little bit earlier. Skip, you want to kind of briefly touch
Well,
on that?
I mean, we were into, Paul Trapolsky, he was more of the designer. He's the engineer, I'm the machinist, so we worked together really well. He would take about 40 hours to design a bow and I'd take about 40 hours to machine the bow, and we kind of worked back and forth. And, we were in Buffalo, Wyoming, and we were going back in 4 or 5 miles, and, we just got tired of lugging these bigger, heavier bows. And, we just want to be minimalistic and just go back and, just have something small, lightweight, compact and maneuverable, and just, put it in your backpack and go. So that was kind of the inspiration to do it. And it's kind of, it keeps growing.
Dirk says, what are some of the techniques in string building that you use that you can talk about that are different than others? Dirk, in the string building industry, we're pretty tight-mouthed about certain techniques. The only thing that I really can talk about is what I talked about already, and that pre-cycle technology. Getting them to pre-cycle, I kind of keep that hush-hush. TJ Fitzgerald, do your servings hold their color well? I've known I've had a couple of string sets fade out super quick. TJ, so we swapped this year to Bloodline fiber. They started making a BOA ice serving. And with that, you get the same pigment and the same waxless coating, if you would, as the fiber. So they are UV protected. They do hold their color and they don't fade out very well. So you'll get a lot of good luck out of those. Mr. Shane Mowry, what boat are you fellas building for so far? Shane, the only company that we build OEM factory bowstrings for is Gearhead, and we'll probably keep it that way.
And Andrew commented, complimented the T20 for being very balanced. That's why he decided not to put stabilizers on there.
But with that one guy saying that, I mean, you can basically build strings for any.
We can, we can build bowstrings for, if you can put an arrow in it and shoot it, we can build a bowstring for it. We've got bow specs, dating back into the 80s. So there's not much we can't build for. Good
Looks
point.
like somebody asked, how can the string change the natural rotation of an arrow? And I think he's talking about clocking, whether it's going to clock left or right.
Yep. So that's a much debated term, clocking arrows, when you talk about a left-hand twist versus a right-hand twist. I did a lot of testing of this years ago before it kind of became cool. Every bow is a little different. Typically what you see is a right-handed bow is going to clock them right if it's a right-hand twist bowstring, and just the opposite for a left-hand. But we've had just the opposite happen. Whether you take a left-handed bow that's clocking them to the left, and then all of a sudden you change the draw length by a ½ inch and it turns. And I think that might have something to do with orbital deflection, which way that riser's turning or tweaking. So yeah, Dirk, trad strings. We are gearing up right now for Flemish twist and bloodline fiber. So that's coming. We're doing some testing right now. Jeremy Balderrama crossbow strings too. Yes, crossbow strings we build currently in BCY products and Dynaflight 97, but we do have HT99 and Bloodline coming in. Shane, those A3 strings will ship to you at the end of the week to execute. Oh yeah, Shane. Yeah, those are actually going to ship probably tomorrow afternoon, so a little sooner than expected.
And Andrew might ask, can you tell us more about the future plans with Gearhead?
Well, so this year we have this T30 with the rotational limb support. Like I said earlier, I want to work that through the whole, line of the 20s and the 24 and the 36. It just seems it makes, the bow just shoot better. The crossbow right now, we're in the middle of a redesign on that to make it a little bit, I might even bump the speed up a little bit, but I mean, it just, the assembly process of the crossbow is a lot slower than it should be. And it just has so many parts that are all going together. So we're looking at machining more of the parts. So you can take 3 or 4 parts and machine one part out of it, even though the part's going to be more expensive. When you start adding up all that and putting it together, it'll make it just a more efficient process. So the crossbow right now is getting redesigned. And again, I can maybe bump the speed up a little bit with a different limb. And then I guess I wouldn't mind bringing like the T18 and add some adjustability to that. There's a little bit of testing because, the reason we ended up with an 18-inch axle bolt was the smallest we could go without having the peep and the string track. So we kept going. And that was the first bow we started with. We made the smallest bow we could. Like most companies, they start with a big bow and they go small. We actually went opposite. We made a really small bow and we've been getting bigger axle to axles. And the biggest one we make is a 40-inch. So I would like to get the 18 because especially with the way saddle hunting is growing, there's really a big demand for the smaller bows. And I think that would really help the product line a lot.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw those T18s out there, I was like, man, how do you even put a peep sight in it? Because I mean, something that small, you automatically being in the industry so long, you're like,
it makes it tough to tie it because it goes right up to that serving.
It does. So Randy, one of the best features about A3 strings is that the peep has 0 twist as the bow is drawn. What is the flaw in a string build that causes or allows the peep to twist? So Randy, there's a couple things that can happen. The number one issue when we see peep twist is a 2-color string, and one color has a little bit more tension in the layup than the other. And so when you put that string together, the different tensions allow one bundle to take the load and the other side not to take the load. So you see that twist and untwist. Second piece of it is too tight a serving. If you're serving super tight, you can actually induce twist under the serving, causing that bundle to be unstable again. And I guess a third thing that I've seen other companies, we've made it the same mistake. It's easy to do if you twist it the wrong way and serve it the wrong way. But any good string builder worth his salt, as soon as he cuts the air off, that peep will start twisting like like a propeller blade. It's like, you need to cut that with a razor blade and just start over. So you don't typically see that a whole lot, but yeah, bundle tension and serving tension is the 2 main causes. One thing I will say about peep rotation, and we get calls and emails a lot, is they say my peep's rotating, and I get them to send me a picture and it's just cocked to one side. And it stays in the same position drawing, so that peep is not actually rotating, it's just cocked. And typically what we see, people that install or your shop that wants to get you out of there quick, they put the peep in, they bring you back and say, okay, let's push it up a little bit. And they push the peep up in the bundle and it actually increases the twist profile above the peep and decreases it below the peep. So you see that cocked effect. So one way to fix it is to take the peep out, let the bundle put back together and put it in the correct place. The other way to fix that is just maybe give it a half twist. Take it off the post and give it a half twist and get it straight back up. So let's talk about your bow fishing bow.
All right, we have We have this one apparatus that's kind of inspired by Tim Wells. It's part bow, part slingshot. So it has the limbs from the bow industry, and it attaches rubber tubing to it. So it basically, the draw length is as far as you can pull it back, and the farther you pull it back, the more energy you create. You can shorten the tube and get your draw weight a little bit higher. So I mean, we ship them at 30 pounds because you can shoot them a bunch, and you develop really good form. And then you can shorten the tube, you can get to 45 pounds, and we've actually killed four or five deer with it. One guy shot a grand turkeys, but we mostly made it for fish. It's something fun. With younger people, you don't have to worry about your draw length. It's as far as you can pull it back, and it's a good training tool. Before the US Olympic thing down in Arizona, they use it as a training tool for the Ukrainian women for like recurves, because if you make a bad shot, it's magnified with the T15. So then when you go from the T15 to your recurve, your accuracy and your shot execution is just way better. So it magnifies your air. So when you go back to the recurve, you shoot really good. So.
Jeremy Balderrama, I know it's kind of backwards, but have you thought about making a crossbow that has speeds that abide by the ASA speed limit to get more crossbows than ASA?
Well, that's the nice thing about our crossbows. We shoot regular arrows with that. So the arrow knocks onto the string. It's not a bolt, and we're actually using the same arrows that we shoot with. So you can choose between a 500 spine, 400 spine, 340, and you can change your speed of that. Like today, I sent a bow out to Alabama, and I put 90-pound limbs on it, and I'm going to use it strictly for the ASA. And when I was shooting it through the chronograph, ironically, it chronoed like 338, 335, and 331. So I mean, it's right where they need it to be for the ASA. And the reason the ASA has that softer speed on that is it doesn't really tear up the targets, and it's more like a bow, so they're not just blowing through targets, and it just makes pulling the arrows out easier too. But we are set up perfect for ASA for crossbows.
Just
Good question.
Deer crossbow, does the diameter of the arrow matter?
So we also use a Trigger Tech trigger box, and there's only one arrow diameter we get in, and that's like the triple X.
27.
Yeah. And plus, I don't think ASA would really get behind that if we were shooting 27s and our people are shooting like 23s. That would kind of. I talked to the Trigger Tech people. I said, if you just open it up about 20, 30 thousandths, I could get the bigger shaft in there, and it just hasn't worked for them. But yeah, it's also a railless system too, so that you don't have to lube the rail or anything with that. And we shoot the cock feather up, and that brought the whole system higher, so you're not pushing your cables and that so much side pressure, so you get really long cable and string length out of it too. And again, it's just regular bowstrings. We basically took the T18 and turned it horizontally, and made a crossbow out of it.
All right, I see viewers kind of dying off. Everybody's kind of jumping off. I think we're kind of.
They've had enough of us?
I think they had enough.
Oh, come on, guys.
But no, this has been good. I hope everybody that joined is getting some, getting some answers to their questions. And again, guys, if you've got more questions, you didn't feel comfortable asking them here, more than welcome to send me an email, shoot me a text message, Facebook, whatever. I'm pretty easy to get in touch with.
And yes to Jeff Wynn, you can paper tune our crossbow. And I try to send it from the factory where it's pretty close. I kind of know from doing them enough that basically a crossbow is just a mechanical piece that repeats over and over. And the thing with the crossbow and accuracy, the arrow is more important than the crossbow, and that's across the whole spectrum. I mean, if you find the crossbow is just a mechanical device that repeats, and your arrow is your variable.
Derek, we need an 8.3 gearhead turkey hunt at Hell's Canyon Bow Hunting Ranch. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. For those of you guys that have not checked out Hell's Canyon Bow Hunting Ranch, go out there and check them out. They're out there on Facebook. I think they got a website. yeah, great ranch, great accommodations. So get those guys, check them out for next year.
All right, then, guys, thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for inviting me into your wheelhouse. This is pretty exciting.
For everybody here, we are actually sitting in the string gap. So we're looking at machines and fiber and whatnot. So yeah, still under construction, but yeah, string, we just moved the company here about 30 days ago. So thank you guys. It's been good. It's been a
thank you.
pleasure. Thank you guys for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
Mark,
inviting us.
for being on the podcast as well.
It's a wrap. Nice to meet you.
Cody.
Nice to meet you. Skip. Yeah. So are you hunting here close or did you have to drive? a little ways, or-
About 35 minutes out by Richland Center.
Yeah.